How are you? Maybe I was speaking too low. It is 10 o'clock, so what I'm gonna just give some introductory comments, then I'm gonna pass it over to Bill, and then we'll jump in. What I wanted to first do is just acknowledge our planning department. We do have a new planner who started with the town of Kiowa, Ms. Patria St. John. So I want you guys to meet Patria St. John's. She's our official planner, officially dedicated for our tree preservation, landscape and tree preservation, but she'll be doing a whole lot more in addition to just trees. So I just want to say welcome formally. And then, of course, you know, David and Nick with our consultant team are present. We've set up this opportunity. We booked about 2 hours here today. And as you saw, we'll do buckets of these as we continue to really spend some time in each of the element sections. But today we'll dedicate just those first three elements plus the introductory sections. And then I'll turn it over to Bill if you want to make comments, and then
No, we got a loose agenda here, but it was an opportunity to let the public make comments, but we had no public presence here, so I think we'll move on. And like I said, David, thank you for all that you've incorporated comments in the document. Really was good. And as John said, he set aside 2 hours, and Bill said there's no reason we should be out here in 2 hours. I'm not gonna keep you any more than that. All right, so.
and then just one other thing, if you guys could use your mic when you can, because I just make sure we get folks who may be listening virtually. So, just a reminder.
I would suggest, and I gave it to John the other day, there was a session just done by, which one of the planning boards, that was done the other day, and it talks about resiliency, particularly trees. And if you can focus on preservation measures, I suggest you look at it first, because what they say there almost contradicts everything that we spent hell of a time on months ago, doing something in front of it. But that's my,
Moving right along. Turn it over to you, David.
Absolutely. All right, so thank you for having us here with you today. Our last meeting, I think we dug in pretty hard on each of the categories that we needed to get through. And we went through some serious red lines. We've incorporated those, and we've added a part. If you'll turn to page 4. That's the table of contents. You'll see a new category, municipal processes. We added that one because basically we had a bucket that things just didn't fit in. And we think, and I think that was a really good strategic move for Kiowa to focus on the municipal processes. It is unique to Kiowa, so that we put at the top of our list. And I think we've developed the entire document. So now we've incorporated all the graphics, some of the imagery, everything that you would need to see that would say, okay, we have a comprehensive plan for the town. Today, I'd like to just do a quick thumb through the whole thing, just so you could see what it physically looks like. And then we'll come back. So if you could hold your comments, if there's anything that's big picture, we can talk about that. But then we'll come back to what our goals are today, which is to get through the first few of these, and we'll dig a little more detail into those first few. If we can get to more, we'll do that. If I'm not going to keep you past noon. We're going to have lunch at noon. Y'all are going to go have lunch wherever you want to do it. We're not going to spend any more time than we have to today. But I did want you to know, A, we've taken a pass at the entire document, and we feel pretty good about it. We're happy to share it with you today. But I do want to dig into detail into some of these, especially the ones, municipal processes. One of the reasons why we want to put it at the top is because the one we knew the least about. So I'd like to get your thoughts on that one today. And then the next couple population, economic development. We talked about those in depth last time, so they're pretty dead on, I think. So we'll just run through it quickly. So this is what the document will look like. It's almost 100 pages. So it goes through each one, process next. That's the name of it. There's the 11 categories and kind of what the purpose of the document is for. Keep going. Inputs, how to use the plan, assess, empower, implement. Keep going. This is Community Next. This talks about what we did in the process of engaging the community. The results of surveys. These are a lot of the statistics that were received out of that engagement process, plus some of the things we learned out of that process. Keep going. Individual feedback. Okay. All right, and then this is the first category, municipal process. This is the structure of Kiowa. Processes, objectives and strategies. Population. This is all of the key findings. Objectives and strategies. Economic development, employment growth. Yeah, just keep flipping. If anybody, this is the
Hey,
next.
David,
That's how the document's gonna.
I think most of them I've kind of flipped through and kind of seen it. I think we can jump in.
Fine. If y'all want me to stop that, that's fine. We can go back and dig into the detail.
Sort of looking at this online, I think some of the font is
Light.
too small, too light, so especially in some of the areas where you've got on the light blue, so,
Easy fix.
but I think also just in general, I'm zooming in on my computer once, twice, 3 times, so I think it's a little difficult to read just from a font perspective.
Font style or the color, or both?
I think it's the size. I think some of those areas if you go back to some of the objective areas, or I think it's size. I think color, like that light blue, if you go back, that light blue is very difficult to read. Not the white on the light blue. But yeah, I think just from a readability standpoint, I think if it's going to be mostly viewed online, it could be presented just a little bit bigger and better.
David, I have one overriding comment, and then some specific questions about completeness, but generally, the whole thing, and it's knowledge from here, the whole plan is based on a vision. Where's the vision articulated?
End of the document, the implementation and action.
I don't see it. I
Okay.
don't identify any place. What it suggests is it's got to be up front, obviously.
Okay.
But given the format, it seems like it might be a perfect addition to each section. As you go through each section, before you get to take the analysis, if you would, as an example, on the vision next. I don't see that vision identified specifically. Where is it articulated?
Go to page 10 real quick.
Municipal process, I repeat, the vision above it, or somewhere in here where you get to the objectives and strategies, maybe put it above that line on each one of the sections. So if it's clear, when you're looking at the objectives and strategies, you're looking at the vision that you're working from, and people can relate to that vision.
So
Now, I don't care whether you do it over the objectives or at the beginning of the section, but I think it probably would be better off over the objectives and strategies, but I'll leave it to you guys to figure out what sells best, but that's the overall comment. glaring omissions. Number one, on the committee side, and Stephanie, I assume we're gonna get an update of that in the final document.
Yeah, the,
Why don't we,
so the table, the chart that's in there has not been revised from our previous, so there are a lot of moving parts now, so we want to, yeah, we'll work that.
I was like, there's the planning. I'm like, wait.
Yeah, so because we've had a lot of changes in committees recently, we've not incorporated, and also, town council is in transition right now as well too, so.
So we'll leave that. It's not fine. Great.
Any of those that needs to be changed out, if you'll just redline those and send us, we'll change them in the document. As far as the, sure.
Why are we focused so much on 120 people who came to an ice cream pop session to come up with solutions or come up with recommendations, when in fact you've got 120 people who are here on vacation? Most
They agree.
have no idea what they're talking about.
And don't even live here.
The big number, well,
Either Seabrook,
most of them were here to get their ice cream pop, and most of them were kids drafted into the line so they could make a statement.
There was also online feedback too, so it wasn't just the people that were physically there.
But the focus in the narrative seems to be, oh, we have this 120 survey that we did, and that's going to support the changes.
No, I wouldn't, I'd say that's a piece of it. I wouldn't say it's not the whole thing. If we could change the language so it's a little bit bigger picture, we can do that.
If we're looking at those 120 people, can we bifurcate it between owners versus
they did-
tourists?
they didn't, they could be Seabrook, they could be Johns Island people who
Oh,
are
so we don't
coming to,
know-
we don't know, they're not even necessarily people who are vacationing on Kiowa. Yeah, but out of 120, if you have 12 people who aren't, that's a percentage. It's,
So a lot of the information we received was census-related information too, so, and traffic studies that are,
The point is, we are going to do a community buy-in, if you will, and comment session with this document before we go anywhere else.
I mean, isn't that section just an example of process? It's not really where the document comes from, it's just an example of process. Right, but I'm just saying, I think the first few sections are introductory and not really meat. So I don't think,
That was
again,
the
it's more to,
It's to prove
show
that
the
we did-
process.
yeah, it's to prove that we did actively engage the community and didn't just make this document up in this room. That's really all it's intended to do.
Updated for the second community input session that we're going to have, which is probably going to be more important.
Okay. So on page 10, let's go back to the vision comment that you had. Kiowa Next is the name of this comprehensive plan. And the introduction, I think, in that Kiowa Next introduction and the project understanding, somewhere in that is the vision. And I think we as a group, if there's a particular way that we want to write it to say that it's the vision, I think somewhere in there, because that's the purpose.
I think there's a lot of statements about the vision throughout the introduction already.
I
I
agree.
mean, I think Andy's point is maybe having a specific statement of a vision for each section, maybe that's something, but I don't know that we've actually documented that, or I don't know that we've even come up with what is a specific vision for each of the elements.
The day one, when we started this, we all agreed the vision is not going to change. Number one. Number two, the vision is articulated in the original plan, and it's going to continue in this plan as being the vision for the town. We agreed to that. What I'm saying is that should be articulated, and it covers each one of the sections. It doesn't have to be repeated in every section, but it's got to be articulated clearly that every section is based on that vision.
Like I said, I think there's statements throughout the introduction that talk about a vision. And that's why I say, I think that, you know, the vision, that it's not saying specifically, it's all about maintaining Kiowa's future and maintaining the, you know, the components that make Kiowa special. So I don't think they're getting in, but if you want a specific statement at the top of each of the elements for that specific element, what the vision is for that specific element, I'm not against that, but there's a lot of statements throughout the introduction about the vision.
No, what I'm really saying though, is that you have the vision, among other things, the planning commission, on almost everything we recommend, one of the recommendations is that it's consistent with the comprehensive plan. And the comprehensive plan is based on a vision. If it's not articulated clearly, you can't make the statement, because right now, and we're seeing it with a lot of things coming through, they're driving a truck through the comprehensive plan. They're using it to be interpreted any way they want to. And I'm not suggesting that it might not be appropriate all the time, but it's being used in a way that you can't trace it back specifically to the comprehensive plan or to the vision statement.
What I would just recommend then is, what I think Ms. Capelli is mentioning is the actual vision statement from the original plan. Let's just document that.
Can
It's
I
somewhere
read it
bold
and
in the
make sure we're all in agreement of to what it is? So this is what I understand the vision statement for the town of Kiowa. It says, "The town of Kiowa Island is a residential, emphasis added, community incorporating a world-class resort and a unique, vibrant shopping village with a natural maritime setting, within a natural maritime setting that is being preserved and enhanced for current and future generations." Is everyone in agreement that's what the vision statement is? All right, let's put that at the front, and then we'll somehow figure out how to weave it into each section at the top.
I don't think you have to.
We just stated at the front.
In a way that
All right, we'll do, somewhere make that the cover. All right,
One of the things I want to do as we go through, there are a ton of grammar, spelling mistakes, you know, just, we need to fix them at some point. We may as well fix them as we're going through each section. Okay. On page 9, since you already got to
Sure.
page 10, on page 9, the comprehensive plan satisfies community members' concerns into 9 categories. That doesn't make any sense, so reword that.
where are you?
No,
Second
how do you,
par-
how do you satisfy?
Third sentence of the second paragraph.
How do you satisfy concerns into 9 categories? You can divide, you can, it doesn't make sense. The plan thrives for the future success, that also doesn't make sense. So just change those couple of words. Make it, it doesn't make sense. It's on the first page. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth line down on the second paragraph and fourth line up from the bottom. A plan doesn't, the plan thrives for the future success. Does that mean anything to anybody? So these are, I mean, because we want this to be a professional document, the grammar and the spelling and the words, they have to be right. It's important.
I thought this is where Andy was going when I first started talking. Each one of the elements has a specific scope to look at the regulation. And that was always my guiding light when I was trying to think, what should I incorporate in the population? So it's clear. Should we put that scope with the element means when we say population, what that covers, what housing, what that means for the regulation? Because that's going to help when the community reads this, they're going to say, well, I want to put this, but that doesn't really fit if you read the scope. So I would say it's part of this, but the scope of the
You would jump in there?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say that at the top of each planning element, in the teal kind of part of the text is supposed to be kind of summation of the scope, and a little bit shorter of language outline that it was from.
Yeah. And the other thing that initially the other thing that we mentioned early on too is that as part of this process, we wanted this document to be readily read by as many people, residents, property owners. So trying to get away from just the sort of technical things that are listed out in state law so that it can be picked up by property owner and they can understand exactly where we are. Yeah.
See, transportation, it means roads, highways, blah, 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 blah. It's pretty clear. It means issues, just, the scope. Yeah, that's
Sure, so if the example of what he just said, if you zoom in on population text underneath it, so 2 through 11 are the ones that are required by state. And so we did do a little summation there that says, so the population next is, this element includes comprehensive demographic data that is necessary to gain a clear understanding of how the island's populations affect Kiowa Island today and its future potential. So we did do a little summary underneath each heading to kind of explain how it relates to what the state requirements are and what it means to Kiowa. I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's close enough. That's okay.
Joanne, why don't you continue with the comments you were going to pick up some?
We'll go back to 9.
Those were the only two on page 9. No, not in the document, there are a bunch, but
Let's get those out of the way.
well, wait, do you want to go through section by section? I don't
Yeah, let's
wanna-
go through
I don't
section by
want to
section.
preempt.
Because that's
Let's get it done.
all the way through. Well, do you, can we go in that in order?
Well, I went through, we just got this
Sure.
less than 48 hours ago, so I was focusing on the sections that we're going to go through today.
Perfect.
But I think other people have comments, let's go through page by page. I think that's a more organized way to do it. And as, people will make substantive comments and will also make, professional
I appreciate you
polishing
taking the effort to
comments.
do that. And honestly, we'll do the sections we're talking about today, but if you have, obviously you have the eye for it. And I appreciate that, having somebody with that kind of a technical interest in the verbiage. If you have those markups and you can just circle it, take a picture of it and send it, we will incorporate the modifications, so.
I think there were-
Sure.
there- Yeah, because I don't want to detract from the substance discussions that we need to have.
So up through page 9, we're comfortable with what it looks like and how it's laid out? And there's nothing that you found in those? All right, so page 9, you picked up on those 2 sentences that you'd like some edits?
Yeah, just want them to
Okay.
make sense, because I think people reading it. And just on page 11, project understanding, it was clear that establishing a resilient framework and municipal process was a priority to those at Kiowa Island. I wasn't sure what a resilient framework meant. But establishing, working on resiliency for the island, but a resilient framework. Resilient is defining framework, and it didn't make sense to me.
It derived,
So,
I was going to say where it derived from. The resiliency framework derived from our initial conversations that this plan would be heavily focused on resiliency. And so with each element ensuring that there was some component to resiliency focus across the document, opposed to just narrowed it to one particular resiliency element. However, we know that the state has added the resiliency element, but in general, across the entire document, we wanted to make sure that the community know that resiliency is a focus. So that's kind of
so just change it to a framework, because the modifier was wrong, establishing a framework for resiliency. That's a little clearer.
Yeah, I mean, the language we can we can.
Okay, now that I know what you're
Fine-tune
doing.
it.
But what was here wasn't what you were getting at. It didn't achieve what you wanted. Changing those couple of words achieves what you're saying.
And then that first paragraph under understanding, Kiowa next aims to understand.
Oh, yeah,
Just get rid of ing.
right, I had that one in there, too.
On the, what John sent out, there was something up in the upper corner of the acknowledgements about a legal disclosure associated with development rights. It was,
Oh, it's not on here.
I Can't hear you. Say again.
So it's-
He's
Can
just,
you hear me now? In the City of Charleston comp plan, which is one of the comp plans we're using as a precedent to look at for content, there is a legal disclosure at the beginning of the plan, something to do with entitlements and development rights. I just wanted to make sure that that wasn't something that we needed to include, or if there's any kind of legal verbiage that
I mean,
the
we've-
town law needs to include
And
within
I
the
think
comp
our
plan that we're
previous
not aware of.
plan, we've alluded to like development agreements and other that those were, I forgot exactly where, I think maybe in either the appendix or somewhere else, but to me, that location can be modified.
Thanks.
so it's gone now. It's not there anymore.
And then one other thing, from what John sent out to what you handed out, there's additional pages in what you handed out today.
Yeah, which is what we're looking at the screen. We have made a few edits since we gave this to.
These pages weren't in what you
Yeah,
sent.
so
It's
All right.
it's a living document.
this is what I said, this is what I recall to you guys. This is going to continue to
Okay.
be massaged based on things that the consultant has recognized, so.
So what we copied is not what we're saying.
It's close. 98, 99%. There's a handful of things that we were just continuing to edit.
I understand that, but that's, and it's not your issue, it's our issue. If we're gonna be able to look at a document at a meeting and make comments about the document, it's gotta be something that we've seen, and something that we've had an opportunity to consider. You can't throw something on the table the day of the meeting.
I'm saying, what was presented, the document you have is not what was shared based on, we have not received what David is sharing today. What David
I
is sharing said
apologize for
that
that.
they're making
I
some
won't-
additional.
I won't do that again. This was me reviewing as we're going, even seeing some of my own things that I'm like, we need to edit a couple things. I won't do that again. But it's like 98, 99%, the same content. So we'll keep 11, if you want to flip to, is there anything else on 11? All right, 12.
I guess is the thoughtful mix of housing options.
On 12?
On 11,
Sorry.
Yeah.
I know, but I mean, again, it's sort of I don't know, who expressed that, that's an important thing.
See what you're saying, because it's not really the thoughtful mix of housing options on the island, it's in the region. So, and that's probably not focused to Kiowa. We talk about it when we get to the housing section, but it
Makes
on
it
the
sound
island,
like
it's-
it's one of the priorities, and I don't think it is a priority.
right,
If your thought was that it was for the region, it should be taken out because we want to.
specific to Kiowa. Okay. Talking about the housing that would, so there's housing on the island, and then there's housing off the island that supports the island. And that some of that housing is not on the island. It's thinking about it, but maybe it's not thoughtful. It's maybe the wrong word.
Because I was thinking from our HRA study, we were talking about a mix of housing and Kayla, they were referring to, like condos, villas, fractional ownership. So they were talking about a mix of housing and Kayla, so that's how I was like, is this talking about Kayla, or are they talking about affordable housing, but you don't want to do that, so that's how I wasn't sure.
How about we just get rid of a thoughtful mix-up and just say housing options? I'll just get rid of a thoughtful mix-up. Because there's still some housing options, they're just not a lot.
It's more specific, I mean, even if you want to refer it to that section, that's.
Sure. Okay. All right. 12. Yep. I think that 1, 2, 3, 4 categories kind of goes into that it's not just the feedback we got from that one ice cream day. It's the community engagement, stakeholder engagement, best practices, and analysis. So bigger picture things, that's just one piece of it.
Well, it came from, I wouldn't say community on that, I'd say workshops. Because the workshops include the community, to the extent that they show up. But most of the comments after the first draft came through the workshops.
Is there public input throughout this process, though, or just in the beginning?
I think all of this is public input, like right now. So, yeah.
It could be public here.
Where are you? Oh, I see. It- Yeah. Was there anything on 12 and 13 before we
There
jump?
was one thing, what did you mean by socio-economical systems? On page 12. The last two words, I wasn't sure, on project input, if you read that. While guided by planning professionals' knowledge of best practices and research found and performed,
I think it's, yeah.
logical and socio-economical systems.
I think it's it's intended to be talking about people. So, and I guess, sure.
Context. Anybody else know what it means in this context?
We need to make it a little bit more Kiosk,
Other things,
a new term, Kiosk.
together input for the sections dealing with transportation and the ecology.
I didn't know what,
Are you saying census?
Yeah.
Is it really census information? Is that what it
It's
is?
census, but it's also the data about where it's economical. So it's also the data about where businesses are, how it works together as a community. So it's the people and how the people work with each other, how they live together. So it's intended to talk about, we do know that there are people coming onto the island to work here. There are people who live here, right? So it's the idea that there's a social aspect of it and an economic aspect of it. I feel like it might still be the right terminology.
that's okay, we can move
You
on.
want to delete it, or you want to change it to something? Okay.
I'll go with that then.
13.
Pages.
14, what was your comment that you had on 14?
Unfortunately, just, oh, yeah, and us. Then there's, you have community involvement, but that's under 1.1, bottom box.
Engage the whole community in planning.
Yeah, and shouldn't there be public input throughout this? Or not, shouldn't there be public input? Or no?
Well, you were saying you're gonna have another workshop to share this document with the public. So that would be under
I would
empower.
say, this doesn't definitively like say at every march of the road where we've engaged the public, but that would reflect, I think, yeah.
I think the thought is that stage one is where we're trying to get all the information. Stage two is where we're thinking about how we're going to use that information. And stage three is when we're implementing what we've learned. So I think, I understand what you're saying about I think the when can happen, the when it happens is this.
Right.
But the how it happens is you get the information, you assess the information, and you implement the information. I don't think it's linear. I think it's,
Consider in 3.1. Take, approve and disseminate over the plan implementation in 3.2, and add a section, review the plan, and then maybe before or after that, put in the community.
how about with review the plan? Maybe we put something,
Well, you could
Within it.
expand it to include community, but I think what we're hearing is they want a specific reference to the community charade or whatever we're gonna do. And I agree with that.
Review the plan would be a good place for it.
I think if we just put something with review the plan,
Either that or up in the paragraph above, because as you sort of said, this is an example of how the information.
oh, just state it there.
Basically what you just said before, that this is an example of how it's gathered information.
Okay,
assessed the
we'll do that.
developed the plan,
All right. Community input throughout process. Yep, that's good. I'll just put it in the, we'll just add a sentence. Throughout, community input throughout the process in 14. Okay? What about, we'll go to 17.
Obstacles. When we get to page 19, and I think we've touched on this already about the popsicles, it's featured prominently here.
I think it's because we had so many images of it.
But and I don't think appropriately, because even before they had the popsicles, one of the things we kept asking when you're doing this, how are you going to know who is answering the questions? And we, to Andy's point, we don't know which. Yeah, but as I say, it could be Seabrook people, Johns Island people, anybody who came to Crashfields Green that day and wanted a free popsicle. And we don't know, we don't know who they are, whereas in the survey, you have some data.
Yeah, and I think, that's where I'm hoping it gets to be understood, because the first couple of pages are popsicles on the green, but the next one, if you read the paragraph at the beginning of page 22, it says, from February until July of 2023, the Kiowa Next team hosted a community survey on the project website, which is home base for digital information. More than 2,800 people visited the site during that time. 850 individuals responded to the survey in full. That's a bigger
Yeah.
group of people.
So maybe that should be first, because if have no idea what this is about, I'm a community member and I come and read it, I'm thinking you're basing your plan
gotcha.
on these stickers.
Let's flip them around. Let's do that. Let's just put that at the end and not at the beginning, so it just
It's a
shows an
small
additional
input.
examples, not,
Downplay what, yeah.
Yeah, it's a small
that is
input.
easy to do. So
Maybe
just
make it
take
one
pages
page of
22.
18, not 18 and 19, just get rid of 19, or
Yeah, we don't need all the pictures.
take popsicles to one page.
Sure, I got my order back. I think that's a good way to do it. So yeah, we don't even need 19. And 20 and 21, those survey results, let's just take the entire popsicles on the green survey results and move it to the back of this group. And we'll take the first part about digital engagement, because that's more critical. Okay. In addition to, we had even, that document came out of popsicles on the green.
So, I mean, this is also similar, a lot of these were also in the survey. We both
Right.
did the survey.
Yeah, so,
I mean, so these same topics were in the survey, and you,
in the bigger picture survey.
right.
Wanna
So I
get-
think having this in there is good. The bad part is the yes, no votes. I mean, it takes away your credibility. I mean, 20 people voted yes, 7 people voted no. It's like, okay, well, that means they're
Somebody showed up.
Could you
So,
also,
I mean, I think these were the topics that were put on the boards at the popsicle. These were the topics that were in the survey. So I think it's important to have the topics listed and say these were what people responded to. And the ones in green were viewed as popular, and the ones in yellow were, intermediate, and ones in red were unpopular. But I would get rid of the votes.
Okay. Let's do that. So we'll get rid of the yes, nos altogether, and just, we'll do a key plan, a key legend that says what green, yellow, and red is. And it just says, going well, could use more input, and needs further investigation, or something to that effect, so there's a category.
Too, because it wasn't just popsicles on the green.
Survey.
It was the topics.
Community input and survey data.
Right. It's really, that's,
So you're saying that these colors then match up with the survey results?
Yeah, close enough.
they're
I
very,
mean, I didn't.
they
go
very
back and
much
check.
align.
That way we're not
But I
getting
mean, if we're
into,
gonna- No, but I mean, if we're gonna eliminate that this is what the popsicle people thought, if we're gonna say this is the survey result implying it's this, I'll just go through and make sure that.
So the thing that I'll add, I think, in the takeaway is you have. you have-
Right, but then we'll just have to make sure the colors are correct, that the survey results don't change, that supports these colors.
That's where they got them from, that's what they should say.
So I just want to iterate the engagement. We had the survey, and we also did the event in Freshfields. The collective efforts of all of that was just to gather information. And so you guys are still synthesizing that information, meaning, like, yes, this is what we heard from the public, but in my opinion, what I want to see aligned is that these things are representative of what we truly think are the things that we should be put into the plan. So that's what I think you should be comparing the survey results to the Popsicle on the Green event and saying, hey, are those things matching up? Does this make sense with where we're going as a community?
Well, again, I think that, we just want to emphasize more the survey results and less the popsicle. I mean, it's not that we want to eliminate the popsicle, I just want to de-emphasize it and more say that this is all community engagement and these are the topics that were.
Question, John, when you did the survey, were you even able to, did you guys isolate to just Kiowa residents? Or you
No.
sent the survey out, so the survey could have been, anyone could have taken the survey?
All right, so when,
The 850?
correct.
Well,
Hey.
that's what I was asking.
No, the 120 popsicles.
Our survey goes out to the public.
Right.
The digital survey.
Yes. I mean, we can isolate it just as Kiowa, but they did that survey. They did not isolate it. It went to everyone. Anyone in John's Island could fill that survey out. So I'm only pointing this out because it sounds like you guys are so focused on the survey.
That's what I tried to communicate there, that
When I'm looking at the event, when I look at the photos, when I see, even with John Island residents, they're saying natural resources is important, so that's a good thing. So I wasn't sure if you guys were aware of that.
When you filled out the survey, the part of the start of it was, who are you?
Well, but we didn't get an address, did we? Or did,
Well, it said, it asked you, are you a property owner, full-time resident, part-time resident, visitor? So,
Yeah.
so
and I remember back from when we looked at these topics months and months ago, we did have data that said these, this was what percentage homeowners, what percentage part-time.
On page 25.
Right. But I mean,
to go back to Stephanie's point, the engagement really was to pull the elements that we need to focus on as a community, pull the issues, pull the concerns, right? And I think that we've captured those things, no matter whether it was the survey or whether it was those things were aligned.
Yeah, I think what we're coming to, John, is the popsicle information is useless.
I would
Because it's all
disagree, it's
included
useless.
in the survey, it's the only really comprehensive answers we got 10,000 comments from that survey.
like I said, I think it's, again, we're all in the introduction, and it's not the meat, and so we shouldn't get too bogged down in it. But I think that, again, if we de-emphasize the popsicle a little bit and move the survey up in front of the popsicle, these are both two different ways to get community engagement. This is where we got these lists, these are what people responded to. The ones in green were popular, the ones in yellow were intermediate, and the ones in red were unpopular.
Good approach. I agree with you on that. This page 25 at the bottom shows who filled out the survey
Right.
physically. The popsicles on the green, you could come up and put a Post-it on the board, and you could be somebody who's
Right.
never been to Kiowa.
Well, we don't need to say that.
It's just another analysis format.
Sure.
There was no way to
For the
track.
popsicles, no.
Yeah, right. All right,
You need
so
a popsicle bag.
we'll get rid of the yeses and nos. We'll keep the colors. The colors will have a key that says what they mean generically, and we'll put that at the back and put this stuff at the front. Okay.
Here you go.
Keep
No, you-
going. So,
Before you leave this whole group of 22 through 20,
no, I'm not, I'm on 22 now.
is there a rationale for how you ordered the different sets of graphs.
Yep.
Personally, I'm thinking like Ron, I would start with the one that's on the bottom of 25. Here's who responded,
Okay?
and then let's
That's
think
easy.
about what are the priorities, how would we want to organize all these different graphs?
Okay.
When you lead off with, considering the Kiowa's existing commercial and non-residential areas, that probably is not the one I would lead with first.
Okay.
I'd lead with something like nature and,
Let's run through them and let's put them in order. All right? I agree with you. Who filled it out? That's a good thing to put first. So I just labeled that one first.
And just a little grammatical thing, and I had told Blake this, and he changed it on a couple, but not all of them. When considering the Kiowa's existing, it's when considering Kiowa's. The word "the" is in in several of them. You'll see he eliminated in somewhere, and I sat there
I
with him
think
and had him
the
eliminated.
spell check with that or whatever is it was the Kiowa next. And then when we got rid of next, the stayed in there and it shouldn't have.
But,
So
yeah, and I
hear
had
you.
corrected it last time, and
Thank you for
it
doing
got
that.
corrected on several, but not all of them, so please.
We will.
But it also tells to me that nobody else is reading it, and that causes me some concern.
On page 25, we talked about the reason on Kiowa. I would just change the bubbles as we heard from the diverse range of Kiowa Island population, where they're always saying that some is vacation, some is business, some employees, they're not all. When I read that, I think that is all Kiowa Island population, where it actually is.
Well, so we heard from, I know, read the bubble. What do you want the bubble to say?
Well, I would just say, I would just reference the fact that we said we heard from a diverse range of Kiowa Island population.
How about we just say diverse range of people?
Well, this is not all Kiowa Island
True.
population. So however you guys converse with it, I was just saying that.
I'll just change it to people. All right. The one is that one. Going through it.
Patria, I know you
I'll
made
just
some
run through them all real quick. with
comments.
What they are. So the first one you said is correct, is commercial or non-residential areas. So it's about the character of the place. The second one was about healthcare, medical services. It was also about utilities, schools. So it was utility focused, facilities and services. The third one was parks and recs. Fourth one was transportation networks, congestion, all of that. Fifth one was culture and identity. We've already talked about 6. 7 was housing and residential areas. And then the last one was again, it's on residential. One was about quality, one was about the housing options. So I think commercial made sense to go first, but it could be housing if you wanted to start there.
I would lead
We
with.
could try to align it with the elements.
In the order of the elements. That's not a bad idea. So,
I would do the positives first and the negatives at the end. Pure negative, healthcare, traffic,
okay, so we'll move that one to C1.
those should be the last two. That's how I would.
So this-
I would move culture and identity and parks and rec up to the front.
Yeah, I would do,
I don't think
Say negative and positive.
Huh?
When you say negative and positive, meaning,
prioritize the survey based on the results, based on,
I would say align them to the,
say, in the different sections.
I'm thinking more about the public reading.
Well, the public wants to read the sections, they'll get it from the survey. If you want to put in the survey,
It was just my,
no, I understand, but I mean, you want to flow the chart, if you will, or the items
Big
on
thing
the
is to make
charts
commercial
back
last.
to the individual elements, you line them up and put the survey.
follow it as we outlined in the elements so that you would, the corresponding chart to the,
well, I guess nobody's going to be thinking about the elements at this point. They're in the introduction. They're in the introduction at this point. You know, I'm just thinking, you know, you need, it's easier to read if you've got somewhat of a flow.
Okay. I took a shot at it real quick based off of what we just talked about. So one would be, do you live on Kiowa? So that's number one. Number 2 would be the one that we said is the greatest strength, which is the Kiowa's existing parks and recreation. It says environmental features was viewed as the greatest strength. So that's a very positive statement. Third one is community character and natural environment presence are great strengths. 4 was the character of commercial areas is viewed as a strength. 5, single-family homes are preferred housing options. 6, quality of housing are strengths, but affordability is a weakness. 7, healthcare and medical services is a weakness. And then 8, congestion and connectivity are a weakness in the networks. Is that a good order? All right, we'll adjust it for that. Okay. Any of the verbiage needs to change, or are you comfortable with how it's presented? Okay. All right. 28, yep, this is when we get into a lot of words.
Yeah, I didn't see, we didn't have.
Okay,
This is the new,
But this isn't what we just got Wednesday. So I'll have to, I haven't read it, and I'm not going to take the
this
time to read it
is,
now.
this is the feedback that we discussed at the last meeting. So it is that information, we just populated it in this section, part of that process and engagement, but is the actual language that we reviewed in this room together. So we'll send it out. You'll have a copy of this. You can reread it. If it's any edits, we'll make the edits, so please send them to us. But it's by category, and we put them by category.
On 43,
Okay, page 43?
page 43.
All right, let's get,
Whoa.
before we leave, yeah, hold that thought. Before we leave this, do you want to spend some time right now reading through 28, 29, and 30, or do you want to read that on your own
I'll
time?
read,
and
I
come
think
back?
on our own, because we don't want,
So,
So I thought when I saw this, the way it's labeled, this is from, and what you're saying, this is from the meetings you had with the state.
yes,
Not, so this is the second part of your information gathering.
correct.
Past the community now with the state.
Yes, that is correct.
But then you just said this is all.
It's information that we went over. It's information we went over when we talked last time about the municipal process, the population, when we categorized everything. Remember when we moved everything around? These were the topics that we were moving around.
This is where we start, basically.
this is from Kika and.
Yeah,
when you
it's
say
all,
key
it's town of
stakeholders,
Kiawah Island staff, town councilors, Kiawah Island utility staff, Kiawah Island Architectural Review Board, staff, Kiawah partners, board members from Kika, the golf resort staff. So it's,
This is who you want to be the alliance.
this is the feedback that we received from those folks.
Maybe you put it after you've proposed doing an alliance.
Where would you do that? Is there a specific?
Don't, well, my reading was you proposed adding in the Kia Alliance, which was a big idea, in your municipal processes element, right?
Coming up.
It is
Yeah.
coming up. So this was still in the gathering of information phase.
Right.
This was
Not the alliance, this is just.
not yet, so this is still process.
Right.
okay, we'll read this, because
Correct.
I've already found some typos.
There, and we put those topics in the categories. This was the information we gathered to give you the topics that we've now incorporated into the document.
So we'll hold off on
That's
these
fine.
on pages 28 to 31. And
28 to 31, we'll come back to that. Okay?
These back out on the website, do we have, so you can resend those?
We'll get.
I'm gonna
those
send you
and
this
distribute
entire
those to you
document.
guys, yeah.
This got next. This got next.
Okay, so we'll go to page 35.
So this one got next.
Which one?
Division next,
What page is that on?
35.
Yeah, I think our,
Oh,
yeah,
so
because
this whole
it's,
section got out.
I think it moved
Because
because
this
of,
was part
because,
of your first section. You may want to keep it though with the vision part. I'm not even concerned about it. It's important.
all right, so municipal process is next. Yeah, it's 35 on the big
Oh,
document.
39.
If you'll go to your, keep going, it's that
One
one.
that was
It's-
circulated is
That's right.
39.
That's right. Anything?
Is the stuff at the top satisfy the
Sure, the town of Kiowa possesses, so this doesn't exist in the state document. This is your document. The town of Kiowa possesses a unique relationship with its residents, businesses, and other stakeholders that call Kiowa home. This element is dedicated to addressing that relationship and affirming or inquiring existing processes within the municipal structure.
And this is a section that was in the comprehensive plan the last time, just not one of the, it wasn't identified.
It wasn't
as one of the-
identified as an element that's, right.
So, this is a question for the group. This is very general, residents, businesses, and other stakeholders. Would you rather say the town, the community association, the conservancy, and other stakeholders? Because that's really what we're talking about.
No.
Well, they're all incorporated in the town.
Yeah, and other stakeholders.
But I would
I was
leave it
just
broad.
asking, do we want to be more explicit? This
Yeah,
is,
when you get into that, you get into trouble with people who believe they're stakeholders and aren't named.
What are you specifically,
Like Kiowa.
no, I'm talking about.
I'm talking about a stakeholder. They think they're stakeholders.
Luke.
Oh, okay. Go ahead,
So
Lou.
what, are you just talking about the top sentence?
yeah, just the top sentence. I
Yeah.
mean, the municipal, the reason we have this is because we have basically the town and Kika. And I would rather be explicit. We're not having this because of residents and businesses.
I would think, Luke, to your question, to your point, that next few pages begin to list out those stakeholders, so I think you would capture it a bit.
My point is you buried it and you've elevated residents and businesses. This section is specifically because we've got the town and community association.
And it's not just those two, but it's not
Because of the
just,
major
it's not
case.
just those two, but you do have a broader
That's where I'm.
conservancy, you have a broader case. And so I think naming them, you naming them, you create trouble in the future if one of those changes their roles or whatever, just from my perspective.
But that's okay. We can have different views.
Huh?
Again, I'll just say, we have this section not because of the residents and businesses, it's because of the other stakeholders. So you might just.
Or maybe you just eliminate residents and businesses, a unique relationship between all stakeholders.
Better for me.
Okay.
Yes, who they are.
How about with its stakeholders instead of all?
Yep.
But we were talking about this process, our process is just not the same, it is with residents and businesses. We do interact with.
No, this section is because of the unique, because of town and Kika. That's fundamentally the reason.
If you're putting residents, what I did was put residents in stakeholders, so put businesses in stakeholders. That's what I just kind of.
So with its residences and stakeholders?
No.
Residents and stakeholders. Okay. They call Kiowa home. Because a business then is a stakeholder too. Okay. Anything else on this page? I think the paragraph explains what you're trying to say. Okay.
The note on 40, just sort of the org chart, we didn't include any changes to this org chart just because
Say that again?
there's nothing has been recommended, I guess, right now for the actual organizational chart, just because there's a lot of moving parts, and so
We're gonna need to start.
we'll come back in. Yeah, we'll come back in exactly what. Yeah,
Yeah, because it has,
right.
Well,
Yeah,
you,
that'll be something I work with. Stephanie.
yeah, if you guys just mark that up, give us a red line version, we'll send it back to you.
David, the only thing I'd recommend is make sure when you do it, on the bottom of 41, you've got the committees identified, and they're on 42, see if you can get them together. Down the right side, we have committees, and then you go to the top committee. They're on different pages.
Maybe you break out and you have the elected town chart, and then you have the way that administrative
Oh, I
is
see what you're saying.
formed,
You
so that
take
it
that
could
paragraph and put
separate.
it on that page.
Because the administrative has become bigger and the committees.
And in the committees, there's obvious omissions that need to be added.
Probably end up having to add a page, it's fine.
Again, a formatting thing on 44.
Do we, or are you asking?
Do you? I mean, as for a general person reading through this, I think it's informative to see the structure, how many different committees. First, people, obviously how the staff has grown over time.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of good information. I just think we're kind of overwhelming the regular person with more detail than they need.
Well, as far as the physical look of the organizational chart, if you guys want to take a shot at laying it out the way you want it to look, keep in mind, I think what they're suggesting is we do government structure, and then we do the town of Kiowa committees, and make them two separate. I think it'll be easier to understand, as opposed to trying to put it all on one chart.
The committees have some omissions, the biggest one being the Marsh Management Committee, which is referred to throughout the document.
Right? Marsh management.
Oh, my God. Don't stir in the pot.
That was, where's me? That was my hesitant of trying to.
So maybe for this example, we put Marsh Management, but we have the Sea Level Rise and Flood Mitigation Committee. We have the Kiowa Bridge Committee. We have.
Well, that's what I say, I don't
So,
think
as a
for the general
sample.
person reading this, they
Yeah.
need all the detail.
Yeah, and then figure out which ones they want to highlight.
I mean, what's it?
So maybe we say that town of Kiowa, and then up here we just say highlighted committees.
Yeah,
And just,
like that, yeah.
we'll put in parentheses, highlighted committees.
I like,
Because really, you want the emphasis on the next section. You don't want them to get bogged down in this. You want them to sort of see there's complexity.
But we'll add marsh management if you want us to.
what you can add is, obviously, Marsh Management is there. The Audit Committee is not on here, but it's just, it may be a secondary committee in the listing, but it is a committee that
Well, let me just ask a question, because this may help. Okay, for page 42, are we saying that we just limit it to this amount? If so, then I can just,
Page four, wait, you got different pages.
The numbers are different. It's page 38 for you. Okay. Yeah, the new print is the big one that I handed out.
Do you want the grammatical and stuff changes on 30?
You've already got one, please tell me, yeah.
Okay, the first line, the town council established hires, plural. Under ways and means, WM has, not have, it's singular, because you have it singular on all the others. And under the last line of Kiowa Island, key decisions made on the last, on Kiowa Island Alliance, bottom right, page 39.
Oh, okay, what was that?
Somebody really should read this before it gets to us.
the Plan Commission is proposing to totally facilitates.
Well, the town of Kiowa Island,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Tiffany, to get back to your point, when you say special committees, you're gonna have to sort through and figure out which ones are special and which ones are not.
it says special, it says sample.
Well,
Or
it says
selected, yeah.
It says special here, so,
Yeah, but we had already
yeah,
said
no, you
change the word.
couldn't have changed, right.
On substance, on page 38, the planning, I don't know how much detail, but the planning commission responsibilities are on, in terms of approving things. Our goal, our only job is not just the comprehensive plan.
So we would you put them as a
Operates and
stakeholder
private
there?
amenities, what are the private amenities that Kika operates? And public structures as well as membership services. What does Kiowa operate that's private? Where'd that come from?
Hold on.
Private island.
Keep it being,
So Sandcastle,
KIC being,
It's your 42, it's her 38.
Castle, the boat launch.
But is that, so is
Can we get one at a time, because we can hard to pick up?
on Kiowa Island Community Association operates private amenities and public structures as well as membership services. So would the Sandcastle is that a public structure or a private amenity? Private amenity?
But the boardwalks, I think if we consider the boardwalks, public boardwalks, even for the members.
Okay, I wasn't sure what you meant by that.
So what I've heard from this, we did get some of the spell check stuff that you just picked up. We're gonna add marsh management up there. We're gonna move ARB down to a stakeholder, because they're actually not under Town of Kiowa. They're their own entity underneath the Kiowa Island Stakeholders Group. Anything else?
Yeah, I put the Alliance,
I missed that. So,
Under the town.
under the town landscape.
Well, we'll get, well,
Yeah, I'll send you edits on that, because, for instance, we no longer have a communications committee, so I'll send you, we don't have a communications committee, and we're in public.
Oh, well then, yeah, if you'll redline this one and we'll take care of it.
Kiowa Island Club a stakeholder, or are they a subset of Kiowa Island Partners?
Part of the partners, you're right. Yeah, get rid of the club.
The same true with ARB then?
ARB's in transition, so you might leave that one.
I'm not sure it's in transition, but anyway.
How about the Conservancy as a stakeholder?
Yes.
No.
Why do you say no?
First of all, it's not one of the established constituencies that the public relies on. Some members are part of the Conservancy, others are not. It may be an influential group, but it's not an entity that I would consider to be a stakeholder in that the development of the island.
Aren't they a landowner on the island?
Yeah,
Yes.
they are.
They are a landowner, that they're giving land
Can I just quickly just,
to be held in conservancy.
so I would state that they should be a stakeholder. The reason why is that the town board environmental committee, we essentially use them a lot as our arm for environmental wildlife issues. We give them money to do projects on, off the island now, that's the garrison, the town gives them grants to do money, or to do projects. So I would suggest that they are key stakeholder, because they, in our old comp plan, a lot of the things that we had under natural resources, we would like, conservancy to, carry out.
And I thought they were originally, in some of the prior documents, part of the key.
That's what I'm saying, part of our old comp plan, but now we do partner with them on a number of things. And we had, they came to sessions.
Are they a 401C?
Yes.
They are, okay.
All right, so we'll have them Kiowa Island Conservancy added to the stakeholders, and if you, again, Stephanie, if you'll mark that up.
Island Club removed.
Move Kiowa Island Club, is that what you said? Okay.
They're part of the partners.
Oh, right, okay.
On Old 43,
Oh, include the language.
Old 40, what,
They're about to jump
what
into
is it? Is it,
So, this chart.
still on the chart. Yeah.
You skipped over.
You skipped over the chart, you go back one. Yeah, on the right side, Kiowa Island Alliance.
39 then,
39 of this
your
document.
alliance above the outline of the membership. Explain the alliance and then put the graph that explains the membership. Yeah.
Can I read this as somebody from the outside coming in, and that struck me as a big idea, a good idea, that maybe needs a little bit of preface, excuse my voice, of how you got to it, what the concern is, and maybe spend a little bit more time about it as an idea. And, because I think that's one of the biggest nuts I read in here. And there probably should be a little more communication to the public as to why that's important, as well as to the other partners, why you think it's
So,
I don't know where that goes, but,
One of the suggestions I have, a specific one, the old 44, I don't know what page it is now. 38.
it's like a summary of those.
We have an objective, an MP2, under the first strategy. I added a responsibility, if you will, I didn't use the word, but the council supports and oversees the creation of the alliance. And the first step, if you will, as it's outlined, would be to evaluate and assess how each organization satisfies their legal and service responsibility to the constituents without duplication and conflicting solutions or policies. That's the first step we've got to get to, is to find out exactly, when the alliance is set up, that's one of their goals, to evaluate, to assess how the organizations satisfy their own requirements, and then how to eliminate among the organizations any duplication or competing policies.
Yeah, so you're basically describing what the purpose of Kia is.
So
Why?
I think so in previous documents, Kia had a huge part. And then at our last meeting, I think because of some concern about how ready these stakeholders are to cooperate with each other, the Kia sort of lost a little bit. I thought we took some away.
I think it became an objective to the processes of this.
I'm not against Kia. I mean, I'm for it, but I think we've seen in certain meetings at the Sandcastle and certain discussions online that these stakeholders aren't necessarily biting at the bit to become a cooperative entity. So while it's a great idea, and I think it's a very productive idea, the problem is we don't know how ready the stakeholders are to cooperate with this.
It's kind of like the BCD cog. We knew it needed to happen, it happened, but they're not necessarily all playing very great together. They figure it out as they go.
Well, I guess my question is,
Success of the island
Totally
going
is,
forward.
to the region.
well, and I'm supportive of it. I guess, like I said, it's kind of, it was big and bold, and then we downplayed it because we weren't sure, and now it's kind of moving back towards big and bold. Be big and bold.
I think the key word is proposing, it's being proposed.
Right.
So maybe we change that. Maybe we say proposed Kiowa Island Alliance, rather than just calling it that.
Well, you're saying proposing it. I just think there needs to be maybe a little more context as to why it's so critical.
It's
A
timing.
little more explanation to the reader who maybe doesn't understand why it's so critical. Because I was that reader. I was reading it for the first time. I'm like, as a planner, I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea, good luck. But as a homeowner reading it, I would want to understand why it's a good idea so they could help push it to happen.
The very reason Ron suggested, we don't know who, if anybody, is willing to join. And the town has got to sell it.
Well, yeah, but help sell it in your comprehensive.
It's not the place it's going to be sold.
Well, I know, but I mean,
Well, maybe it's not selling it,
kind of
it's
feels like
defining what
it
it
landed
is.
out of nowhere in this document,
What if-
is what I'm saying.
What if we do a paragraph at the beginning that just says, as the town of Kiowa development nears its completion, the town of Kiowa and the development of Kiowa nears its build-out, there has been some sort of awareness of the fact that we needed to create an alliance among all of the major stakeholders, something like that, to at least tee it up
An
before we say
introduction,
that,
yeah,
before we say
yeah.
it.
Well, I think you just maybe expand that paragraph below.
Where it says it,
Yeah, I mean, I think you just need to give it more
Has to do
emphasis,
with the
this
overlapping
paragraph here.
responsibilities and.
that's right.
And I think, again, I don't know, the mayor of the town, you're kind of giving him almost like the kingdom. Like he's been, I don't think that he should be on top of Kia.
The question is the town the one coordinating it, Or do you want to make it just a big circle?
I just
with
would just
everybody,
make-
like a round table, everybody
Right,
equal?
I just would put TOKI and not necessarily the mayor, and make everyone sort of an equal piece of the pie.
Put the alliance in, but don't give it to the mayor.
Right, I mean, you, like I said, you kind of anointed him king.
Can we take mayor out
Yeah,
and just
take
say
mayor
town
out.
of
Just the
Kiowa Island?
town.
Kiowa.
And
And
we
cons-
can,
And put,
Make it a circle.
make a
we want
circle
to
with.
make it a
cons-
circle though, because I think as we become, as it builds out and as it becomes a thing, some of these may even disappear as or they just be, like Freshfields Village. It's a place, but it's part of the town of Kiowa. Okay.
When, John, help me even, I don't remember something's going on. You presented this to council as a discussion, they vote on the actual charter or creation of KIA?
That was a separate thing under the marsh management.
Right.
We never formalized a entity for that based on what was recommended in the marsh management plan. What we did, we just settled on these were the stakeholders and all the communications group. I worked with all those stakeholders. But there was never a formal charter attached to establishing.
Yeah. So I remember it was KIA, I thought.
But that was separate. I think this is addressing more broadly. That was just focused narrowly.
But that's not two separate, KIA is still the same one, it's just that they will be under March and under this. Because it wouldn't make sense to have a separate KIA for March and a separate KIA for this, so that's why I was thinking it's just.
Separate, this should be separate, yeah.
Committee.
This,
It would be the same stakeholders in theory.
Well, you guys can figure it out, I was just confused because you called
Yeah,
it
it's the
KIA,
same
and you called it
stakeholders.
KIA.
if,
It's the same.
yeah, and it's gotta be at the higher level, that's what it is.
I think it's important because it's, even though it may be difficult to see today, it's very aspirational that the town is pushing this initiative that all these other folks are needing to see that the importance of why, the effectiveness of the island, if everyone's on.
Well, instead of competing with each other, they've gotta get along together. And otherwise, the quality of life on the island goes to hell. Pardon my language.
All right, so we'll get rid of the word mayor. We'll come up with some introductory paragraph that explains what this is. It's something along the lines of, as Kiowa approaches its build-out, overlapping responsibilities of Kiowa stakeholders is becoming apparent. Therefore, the planning commission is proposing da-da-da.
Perfect.
Did you, capture that step?
So that's on my page 40, under the objectives. Which one, I didn't write the whole thing down. I heard what you were saying. I thought instead of doing it, we would do
Yeah, it was
this.
on 44, but it, under strategy, MP 2.1.
Town council will support and oversee.
First bullet. And it's basically, I don't know what more you want, but I said evaluate and assess how each organization satisfies their legal and service responsibilities to constituents without duplication and conflicting policies.
Andy, isn't that, so it's very specific, and you know me, I like specific, but isn't that just inherent in standing up the organization, that's what they're gonna do? And responsible for systematic coordination of the stakeholders organization is,
If the-
that's a broader statement,
It is a broad statement.
rather than being, you know, you're being more specific.
There's a step, yes.
I think
Not
number
as
one,
an-
I think
not
the
as
one
an
that's here
objective.
captures it.
Setting up the alliance, and some of those details are going to come from those people who are going to be working together to set it up.
Yeah.
Where
And they
is the
will do-
purpose of the alliance expressed?
I think that's what this is.
That was the,
That
what
was
she was,
additional.
We added
that
that
was the
paragraph
purpose
so
of
that
the
it would
island
do
is to
what you're
coordinate.
saying.
You can put it up there too if you want, but I think the key in my understanding is that that's the issue that they gotta deal with.
The overlapping
That's
responsibilities.
the overlapping issue.
Yeah.
well, but it's also, it's redundancies, it's creating, hoping to create efficiencies, but it's also to work to communicate on the same priorities, i.e., now they're talking together on Captain Sam Spit. That's something Kia would have facilitated.
All covered by something you call duplication, you call it redundancy, call it what you want.
But it's also coordination on issues.
That's what the whole idea is, to get them together to talk and not fight each other or come up with conflicting policies that suggest we do one thing and you do another thing. And who pays for it? The stakeholders, the constituents.
Say in MP
So if we're
2-3.
done with that, so the municipal processes, objectives and strategies. Now, keep in mind, this didn't exist the last time we talked. This was something we had to create.
Definitely a
So
proposal.
it's why it took a lot of time to get through this.
Establish is one word.
Where, on which page?
3, establish is one word.
Got it.
Objective MP1, do we really want to say insufficient existing processes or just improve upon existing processes?
Okay. Approve. Yeah, I'll just get rid of insufficient.
Strategy MP1.2, collaborate with resorts and agencies to understand trends in tourism patterns and their effects on future property owners. One should be collaborate with stakeholders. Collaborate with stakeholders to understand trends in tourism and ownership. To understand the effects on future. Trends in tourism and ownership.
Sometimes our stakeholders, well, we could do that, but for us, I read this as sometimes the people that we collaborate with is beyond our stakeholders. Because, if we talk about tourism, I mean, it depends on kind of the, if we want to collaborate with tourism agencies to understand trends and tourism patterns. CDB, we collaborate with them, but they're not part of our stakeholder definition. So for us, we go beyond the stakeholders, we're talking about what's part of the KIA.
I think this is resorts as it relates to tourism, which is why I think those two are in there specifically as a statement.
When we're looking at that, for us, it goes just beyond.
I understand, but this is one of the strategies.
I understand what you're saying, I'm just referring to his comment.
Okay.
Mike said, put stakeholders in there, I'm saying for us, it goes beyond.
I'm worried if we just put stakeholders, it's not specific to that purpose, tourism.
The other part of it that we don't get into is the town and KICA have different legal responsibilities. And those are driving what each one of them need to do. The town's got,
And if there's any that overlap, you need to divide them and say, nope, now
Is
that's
that
your
in your
responsibility.
base
whereas
conditions?
TICA has a responsibility to service their constituents in a way that takes care of whatever they're responsible for under the covenants. It's got nothing to do with the safety, it's got nothing to do with the quality of the welfare.
Safety, health, and welfare.
Yeah, all of the responsibilities of the town defined legally, there's a similar definition for, if you will, not-for-profits running a community, or community associations. It's a separate law, and somehow you gotta get in the fact that they each have responsibilities, and no, they don't necessarily overlap. There are separate responsibilities, gotta be satisfied.
Yes, we did read through these objectives and strategies before, and I do feel like they cover the things that the town of Kiowa is responsible for. I feel like they do.
Yeah, they do.
And I think that the alliance is to go a step further and to get the things that maybe the town of Kiowa was not responsible for, but we're concerned about as well we should.
The alliance has gotta get together, and that's why I suggested the first one, to evaluate and assess what the legal responsibilities are and how they satisfy them. To avoid the duplication.
All right, so under MP 2.1, before we say responsible for systematic coordination, Kiowa Island stakeholders organization, you want to do evaluate and assess what they're contractually obligated to do? Or legally obligated?
Knows what their legal obligations. We don't need to assess it.
But it's not, they know what their legal obligations are, but I don't think the understanding of what KICA is also legally responsible for that may be in conflict with the town. Now, the law allows, I'm sorry?
So are you saying that we as a town should be evaluating
this group should be. Both groups. And the group together has to explain to each other, if you will, what their jobs are.
I think they all know that. I think we need to put that out there. I mean, all the groups based on Keel, we all understand what we need to do.
And why are we fighting all the time?
That's just,
No,
It's a
that's,
people issue.
right.
people, but we all clearly understand.
Move on, David.
Can I
I've got a note here, we can add it if we want, evaluate and assess each
I just make
stakeholder's
a
legal obligations.
comment?
Sure.
To go back to the whole section, sort of just, you have 2 pages, this very complex graph about the town and their governance structure. Then you, and this is, like I'm thinking for the person reading this, and you present this huge idea of a new whole organization that's going to bind all the stakeholders. That part of this section should be big, and the part about the government should be made smaller, I think.
The only reason why I would challenge that is because this is the town of Kiowa's document, and this isn't, the Kiowa Island Alliance isn't.
Well, I'm not saying eliminate it, I just kind of think that you're not giving, if you're presenting this huge idea, I think you want to
We'll flood
really
it.
make it the meat.
We can make it bigger, and I understand that we need to introduce it better. So we'll make a better introduction about it, and then we'll make it special in its own thing, as if it's this is something coming out of the town and all of the other stakeholders.
And then, you could consider changing the order of the objectives. And make the ones about Kia the first 2, and make the one about town processes the last one.
The only reason why I would push back on that, because we have to go back to remember what this section is titled, municipal processes. What you're wanting to do is not our process. It's a secondary. It's just like making a committee bigger. But as a municipal process, we're just outlining and trying to describe to the views of what is the town's role and what do we do. Making the Kiowa thing bigger than what it is not really our municipal process.
Okay. No, I understand what you're saying. It's not really our responsibility.
Statute MP 2.2. This is the town's document, we're saying Kiowa, Kia will collaborate. Is this?
The purpose, maybe we shouldn't say Kia will. It's probably not our statement to say. Maybe it's a suggestion,
Yeah, I think we just stand up Kia, and then that's all we do, is we just stand it up. And then let them figure out
And Kia's going to come
responsibilities,
together
scope.
to define their own roles.
So it's a purpose. The intention is for Kia to collaborate and strategically plan for collective long-term objectives. I think it's just what I just said. The purpose is for
Ron,
Kia
let me go back to what you were
to
saying.
collaborate and
Totally agree
strategically
with you
plan for
that
collective long-term
this
objectives.
is kind of the new and big thing. I was okay with it because it's in this municipal process, which is a new and big thing section of itself.
Sure.
This piece ought to, somehow stand out. I don't know how we do that. But this piece ought to stand out, and within this piece, I think this is the showcase part of this.
Right. Yeah, no, I think
It stands
just
out
gives,
because it's in a,
give it a little bit more oomph.
Right?
Great.
Are we done with that
Yep.
section? All right, so the next one is population next. It's the 43 in the current document. This should be easier because it's really just regurgitating information we've already reviewed. So the municipal process was by far the hardest because it didn't exist. So this element includes comprehensive demographic data that is necessary to gain a clear understanding of how the island's populations affect Kiowa Island today and its future potential. Should I change populations to population, or is that
Just, yeah.
population? Okay. Any grammar thoughts there?
That opening sentence, strategically nestled. I think Mother Nature kind of put us
It
there.
did put us there, it's true. Well, well, the island was here, but the town wasn't. So the town is strategically nestled here.
I have a question on population section. You know, we spend all the time, we go through the demographics, here's where we are. But this is supposed to be a forward-looking plan. I think we need data in there of how many lots are left unbuilt and what is the potential future number of front doors on Kiowa Island. I think we need,
Maybe
well, but
Probably in a zoning document.
but it's not in the plan. So my point is that I think we should have that somewhere to say, here, this says, here's where we are now, but where are we going to be? I'm sorry?
It's got nothing to do with what we're doing here, except to say, recognize what we're doing on build-out and what the changes are gonna be in the population.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It doesn't, there should be an actual number. Kiowa is a very defined area. We know,
Yeah, there's like a PUD or something that
but
defines,
we need to somewhere have.
is this a moment in time document?
Population, I think it can go in another location, we can incorporate sort of the future where we stand in 3 years' time, whether that's, today or 5 years from now, those projections, is that what you're asking about projections?
I'm just saying that if we're doing a comprehensive plan and thinking about these strategies and things for development, whether it's resiliency, all the things, it would be good somewhere for us to have an estimate of how many people could be on this island.
I think that's, you know, especially because a lot of the rest of the build-out is multifamily. I mean, between Ocean Pines and some of the beach walkers. Right. No, I don't know that there are that many. I mean, all the ocean parks getting built, I don't think they're all populated. I mean, a lot of the lots are being built. Yes.
Well, I will say, it's under our objectives and strategies. So what this document does is gives the moment in time population data.
Right.
And then under the goals and objectives, at that, it says that the objective P3 is to develop strategies to consider the needs of the future population. So it's in there that is the purpose, is for the people reading this document, here's where we are, go look at where we're gonna be in the end, and that's the strategy, is to figure out what you need to do to get there. So that is in the objectives and strategies, but this information tells you how we got to where we are at this moment, in terms of what the growth rate is, and where the growth is occurring, and who's moving here, their age, and all of that.
I would take out P21 and P31, they don't steps, to do steps, and they don't really belong in the plan. You get to quantify the development, understand the build-out without doing a survey. You can get to it without coordinating with KIA. There's a lot of things you can do to get to the objective without those 2 specific steps, which may or may not, KIA may never be here to do it.
Are we going by page,
Yeah,
or?
let's go page, we'll come back to that. All right, so page 44, growing population. Was there anything on that page that you wanted to modify?
Yeah, up on retirement community. First paragraph. I don't know, it's on
Fine.
49.
That's fine.
45 on our page.
That's fine. Retirement community. Is there anything on the page before that that anyone wants to?
Yeah, we did. I'm surprised we haven't got,
I understand the emphasis there, but is that language?
no, I don't think it is. That's one of the things I wrote down. I mean, if you hit it in the paragraph that we're somewhere, you know, there's a retirement population, but I don't really think we want the whole community as a header labeled as a retirement community. I mean, and every time we've discussed it in the past, it was, you know, it's a community with a resort and, you know, so it's tourists, and so it's more than just a retirement community. of old people.
Well, do you want me to start using the active adult terms? I mean,
Exactly. Can you, like I said, just don't put it at the top of the
Okay,
page.
okay.
Hide it in the paragraph somewhere. With a lot of retirees.
Yeah, and that's going to be clear from the age thing. You got a lot of 65
so
to 74.
how about we just do household trends?
Sure.
If you look at, the projection here is that it becomes more of a retirement community. I'm not sure where that comes from, or how it's supported.
Where you look,
I'm looking at growing population.
I think there's a projection that, in 5 years or whatever it was, that the median age is going to go from 68 to 70 plus and.
Look at just the graph, 2010.
Right, so I mean, I think it's based on what's happened over the last 10 years, that's,
If you look at today's Wall Street Journal, this whole thing goes out the window. These communities are not gonna be retirement communities. So, I mean, you want a living document that's gonna last. Don't specifically say what it's going to be.
What page, what sheet are you on?
right here. I think he's back on 44,
Right,
And
this
the
is expected as.
top of on the,
The assumption, the assumption is that the people that are here are gonna stay here, and that most of them aren't leaving. So the age is increasing, and it's based off of trends to this point.
right.
So that's how, it's just projecting.
arrow really goes up way too much. From 20 to 23, you got 50
You're right.
people.
So the
It makes
proportion.
it, if you're not reading the numbers, you
You're
go,
fair.
wow, we grew a lot. Well, no, we
All right,
didn't.
we'll lower the dark blue one. That's fine. We'll do it as a percentage.
Arrow down, almost the same, just scale it down.
Yeah, I just pulled the dark blue one down.
Read all your notes.
Okay. Did we switch to page 45?
Yeah, that's fine.
Change the retirement community heading.
I changed it to household trends.
In that paragraph, would you consider on second paragraph under that lead-in, says the median household income, et cetera, Kiwa's households earn more than, instead of earn more than 200, report income of more, because I don't think they're
Sure.
earning, if you're talking about all these retirees.
It's unearned income.
Fair?
Reported income. I mean, that's what you're getting is reported income. And I think income is not
Fair.
the right word, but that's what.
It's the way the government uses it, but I appreciate that statement. It's a better way to put it.
But that other sentence out, that actually median income only tells a portion of the income story.
Yeah.
I don't think that belongs there because
Well, but there's also the net worth category, which,
Yeah, follows.
But it's saying, as many residents are living off retirement income and investments.
we can take it off if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get rid of the whole that whole sentence.
John, is the labor information in 23 is about as good as we're gonna get, so it's not the census information.
It's ESRI. I actually Googled it. All right, so that's just boilerplate.
Population. And it's regional. All right, household comparison, anything there?
I mean, I think this is information that people will be interested in, I guess. I'm spending quite a few pages, what's the purpose? Or what, just to inform people where we stand?
Correct. It's population data that they're going to want to look for if they're moving here, if they're interested in this place, or if they live here and they want to know what's happening here.
And we consider the graphics under household comparison, trying to tell everybody
You
that
don't like the pigs? That's the piggy bank. It's how much money you got in your nest egg.
Speedy and Piggish,
Should we put a golden goose there or something?
something else.
Laying an egg.
I think it's just trying to depict a piggy bank.
No
We don't want
mistakes.
piggies.
All right, tell me what the graphic should be, we'll change it.
Another question on the boxes and the graphics. We're comparing with Kiowa, Johns Island, Charleston County, and the metro area. We talked earlier in the plan about benchmarking data, blah, blah, blah. Should we look at benchmark communities in here, say Sullivan's Island, or what other comparable communities, populations are like, aging and demographics, or no?
Is there any?
I think it needs to be apples and oranges because of the population shift and how much commercial some of those items, whatever. It's gonna really throw your statistics way off.
Kiowa's different than Hilton Head too.
Hilton Head's 38,000 residents.
How many different resorts, or how many different
I would also say the
plantations? or
population
whatever
area
they're
here, one of the reasons why it's important from a planning perspective is that we're looking at our surrounding areas, understanding the growth and how we plan for roads, all those things, looking at doing other communities. That's just but for comp plan, understanding that, the population. That's right.
I would also add in that on the objective strategies for other sections, there are suggestions that the town council should do more analysis of other, like. Yeah, so that's within the plan, but like, you'll have that before.
Okay, population, oh, we got through household comparison, objectives and strategies. Yeah, the P21, P31 strategies, do y'all want to not say anything about what Kia will conduct? Just take those out? Or should we adjust the strategy to make it, instead of a will, it's a suggestion? Consider the PC. Because we have to have some, I feel like we need some strategy under the objective.
Can you eliminate and just, who will do it, and just say conduct an economic development impact assessment?
Yeah,
Determine.
that's a good idea. I'll get rid of Key.
Yeah,
So just say, I'm going to conduct an economic development impact assessment to determine effects of known potential projects. And then under the other one,
same
But
thing.
we're gonna,
coordinate with, that's fine, coordinate with Kia to develop plans to satisfy the needs of Kia residents, employees, and workers. Okay. I'm just going to say, take out the PC will. And then, do we have to
What are we
say,
taking?
we have to say with Kia or no?
Coordinate to
All right, so I'm
develop.
just going to say, develop plans to satisfy the needs of Kiowa residents, employers. Yeah, so that's a strategy.
Is that the planning commission function?
But I remember we had this conversation last time. That was one of the ones that we addressed when we were talking last time, and we kind of went full circle and came back to leaving it here. I do remember you bringing it up before, though.
I don't know why.
It could also be economic development. function.
Not just planning.
Like with the population showing that it's more seniors, then that drives the economic development of what services are not being currently provided for seniors.
Well, you're assigning the step, if you will, to the planning commission. Legally, it's not a planning commission function. It's a staff function.
But we took it off of planning commission. We didn't even suggest who's doing it. We just said conduct.
Yeah, I think
That's in
all
the
of
new
it
one.
should be.
Yeah, though, it's what we just edited.
That's the problem with not getting it.
No, like just now. As you stated that, we just changed it. No, it wasn't changed. I'm just saying, right, per our discussion that we just had, I changed it.
I have a question.
Sure.
It's the start of this, to understand and better serve the diverse population of the town of Kiowa Island. Do we really consider ourselves diverse?
You can be diverse in age, diversity in age, diversity in locations, some people from Europe, different places.
I mean, I think we just kind of spent 2 pages showing that we're a fairly unique population compared to our surroundings.
How about the unique? Changed diverse to unique.
I mean, because we're different than everybody else. so
Absolutely.
We just spent 2 pages
I am
showing
more
it.
than happy to change that. That's very appropriate for this group. That was not a slight. Okay, economic development next. And that's the last section for today, and hopefully we're on time, 15 minutes. Let's knock it out. This element provides an overview on employment and labor needs, including historic trends and projections on relevant matters affecting the local economy. Any grammar or
Just
edit?
quick nits on the first paragraph on the job density. Last sentence, the two major, I don't see two.
Wait, have you, you moved to the next page. Okay. Say it again,
First
Job-
paragraph on the job density and employment overview,
right?
last sentence,
Two major concentrations.
there's only one. Concentration of employment,
Where are you, Andrew?
But locations is plural, so.
That, they were referencing this map over here.
Yeah, that we should probably say that, as noted on, yeah.
If you're good, maybe that map goes underneath.
I'll just say the two major concentrations of employment on the island are the Kiowa Island Golf Resort locations. Okay. this-
And we talk, in all the job descriptions, landscapers aren't in there. There are an awful lot of people working on this island in landscaping.
So there's a bigger, all this data is about Charleston County. It's all Charleston County wages. And I think we need to say that, does this data reflect what Kiowa Island wages are? I mean, are the wages the same or are they different? I mean, but all this data is all Charleston County. So I think that we either have to say, yeah, I think you either have to put a statement in that we don't have data for Kiowa Island employment and wages, or you have to say which we believe these Charleston County data is reflective of Kiowa Island.
That's fair. I don't know exactly how to say it because the employers are the ones reporting the data, and the employers are in those dots.
Right, so obviously, well, I would maybe just a statement to sort of say, what
Okay.
is, this data is Charleston County, of which Kiowa Island is part, but we believe Kiowa Island does have higher wages than what's advertised for the county. Or, I'm not, however you say
Where
it.
would you want to put that?
I don't know that, but that's what Stephanie
It's
said.
what you. Oh, that's interesting. Look at that one document, look at that chart. So this is, it says median wage versus median advertised wage. I think that's actually doing what you're suggesting. It's suggesting that here, the advertised wages are greater than the median.
I thought that was still, that's still
Oh,
Charleston
that is,
County.
you're right. But so what you're suggesting is we need to make some sort of assertion that we feel is right in stating that the median advertised wage is maybe more compatible with Kiowa than it would be in other parts of the.
But maybe just a sentence that says, this data is all based on Charleston County, of which Kiowa Island is part, but it's, we can't say where Kiowa Island wages are specifically compared to the rest of the county.
Yeah, and I think this captures it. We're part of Charleston County. Charleston County here is saying that they tend to have higher advertised wages. We are saying, keep it the same, we tend to have higher advertised wages. So I think that is reflected, because Charleston County cost of living is so much higher than other parts of the state of the country, that here, wages tend to be higher. So we're part of that. So I think that piece would be correct, but the first one, regional median wages are most likely to be located at anywhere from 23 to 45. I think that is on both sides, but I think the next sentence is accurate.
It may be,
Six would be more accurate.
I think it may be helpful if you, in this case, be redundant, say comparison of Charleston median wages, MSA, versus advertised jobs in Charleston County. Charleston County, in both places.
The other thing that I would point out too, just on job concentration density, I think is reflective in that first paragraph under the two major concentrations of employment on the island are Kiowa Island Golf Resort locations.
Right.
I'm thinking that that is actually pulling from the resort headquarters and Kika's headquarters opposed to two resort locations. So if you look at from the Community Association office on Beachwalker, that's where that smaller bubble of the two is concentrating from.
But you're saying that's just because where the salaries are processed at.
Right, so opposed to being, I think, two actual golf resort. That's my interpretation of this graph here, if that makes sense. Am I making sense where this? The circle, so the last sentence of paragraph 1 says the two major concentrations of employment on the island are the Kiowa Island Golf Resort locations.
As depicted on the LEHD map shown on the next page. I just added that.
But the graph actually, I think, is only still depicting one of those as Kiowa Golf Resort and the other would be Kika. That's how I would imagine that this is concentrated based on the pinpoint of those.
Okay, get rid of naming it.
So Kika?
Two major concentration of employment on the
If
island
it's
are
based on
depicted.
two golf resort locations, the largest one would represent where the sanctuary is.
Right, I understand. I thought this one was kind of Turtle Point and West Beach and,
Yeah, he's talking about this map right here. So
not Turtle Point, I mean Cougar,
that would be
West Beach.
sanctuary.
But you would only have,
Yeah.
I don't know, like I said,
I would just be hesitant naming.
Let's
that's the
just
only
say
reason.
the
It's
two
not-
major
unless we have
concentrations of
definitive-
employment on the island are
It
depicted on
doesn't
the
include fresh
LEHD
fields as
map.
well. I don't know.
Right,
if
oh, that's what I thought. I thought it was Freshfields.
Rid of the, we're not gonna
It
guess.
could be pulling in
John?
fresh fields, but I doubt it would show maybe.
So rather than guessing, we're not gonna guess. The two major concentrations of employment on the island are depicted on the LEHD map shown on the next page. Let's not say who they are.
Yeah.
They're just in those areas. So avoid it. Yeah, is there anything else on the next page?
Next page, I just. Second paragraph under income comparisons. Regional median best line.
Back on 53.
I'm on 57. Mine says 57. Income comparisons is 53. Change 53. Regional median wages for those, for most, instead of most.
Oh, you're right, for those. Yep, got it.
Located.
Okay, anything else?
Where is the sentence that you were talking about to refer to the map?
It's at the bottom, on page 52, the first paragraph. It says, "The two major concentrations of employment on the island are depicted on the LEHD map shown on the next page." Okay. All right, employment growth trends.
It is what it is.
Well, we only wanted to get through this one. We don't want to spend more than 2 hours. It'll blow everyone's mind.
Quickly on employment growth trends, you want to spell out MSA? You have Charleston, North Charleston, MSA,
Sure.
just so people know what you're talking about.
Yep.
Regional employment growth trends,
Just data.
under growth trends on the next page, it says 16 to 21. here is, can we update it to more current, or is that the best available?
I think this is all we got. I don't know if it's available. I don't know if those numbers, if they're available, we'll add them. He's talking about page 56, regional employment growth trends,
Talking
2016
about
to 20.
wages, updated wages,
Right.
we've been consistent.
I'll find out if we can go past 21. If we can't, that may be all we have to this, to report on. Would make sense, because you would report it in 22, and we're just now in the 23, so I don't think it's available data. Yeah, we'll see.
Clarity on tourism overview trends. We explain sources of revenues. The second paragraph,
You're on 58 now, right?
Yeah, he's jumped to 58. Well, yeah, that's fine.
Right.
21. the second
Okay, he's the old.
21, revenue increase, what revenue? APAX, I think. Just identify which one. You have the other-
He's actually looking at this paragraph.
Yes, second paragraph.
It's tourism-related revenue, but so you want us to spell that out. So in 2021, tourism-related, yeah,
Second paragraph, just.
yep, that's fine, we
The
can
other
do
ones were all spelled out.
that. Okay? Anything else on the economic development? You don't
I
like
got something before
Okay.
that.
Help us wordsmith it.
I got, still on that graph,
Sure.
59,
Okay.
58, 59. Sort of at the very end of your written part, you kind of sneak in there about the revenue from business license. And shows a, a $2 million increase over 10 years.
Big one.
And like I said, it's not reflected in the graph, and it's kind of thrown in there at the end. I guess I would just say, what, maybe a statement, are we expecting that business license revenue to maintain at that level, or is it going to continue to increase? Do we
Y'all know
have
why
any
that- Have y'all heard that? Do y'all know why that happened? So during COVID, a lot of people moved around the country and started their own companies, individual companies, just whatever it was. There were more patents in 2020 and 2021 than in like the last 10 years. Because people were like, they're at home, they got nothing else to do, they were creating their own businesses. And it's something that, it's like a big uptick that happened, and it's kind of started to slow down. So I don't think it's a trend. I think it's just related to COVID. I don't know if that's what that's related to, but if they're starting a business, they had to get a business license. So
is that Kiowa business license?
I think it's everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm guessing here they pulled it from our, they pulled it from our
Yeah.
CAFR. And some of this is, yes, our, every 2 or 3 years, IRS readjusts the classification code
Of a business.
of a business. And couple of things, they did that, so for some of our categories, that threw some in a different category, which generated more revenue for us. Also during COVID, our short-term rentals and our hotels, everybody was at 100%. That's one reason. And then for us in our camper, we had a lot of special projects that, like East West, that we put our budget in, we budget special projects, and we get those limits, so it's a one-time hit. So for us, it could be a combination of different things. And so our current budget right now for this year 25 is we're just budgeting business license fee pretty much flat. Not significant. I think we projected like a 2 or 3% increase. Nothing significant. So.
Like I said, it's kind of thrown in there at the end, and it's not reflected in the graph, and you kind of wonder,
There's only tourism.
No, I'm just saying, but I think it's still a sort of, you're talking about a significant chunk of money to the town, so. Or make a, we're projecting this to remain relatively flat in the near, over the next 5 years or whatever. Pardon me?
They go down if it was a
Right.
spike.
Yeah, I just don't see it as a lot of people doing
that.
pat.
Because of their,
Special events, our special permit, we had East West,
Working in my basement, air hockey games.
14.
That's right.
It's an explanation of that number to that number.
yeah, so it's from the resort stuff, it's from,
All right.
Steel Partner stuff, and we had a little bit of East West stuff.
So it's just a thought. Like I said, if you want to,
There's a lot of special projects, so we can pull that.
Licenses and building permits? Because building permits are the one you, Frank should be concerned about, because that's the one, is it sustainable?
right,
Because once it's built out, you're not going to get any buildings that rebuild.
right.
But this is talking about business licenses, which is not the biggest part. The biggest part is really building licenses, or building.
Building permits. Hang on, so this is tourism, So it's,
Do you want everything in there? Or
no, this one's tourism focused, which I think business license fits in the tourism category, not building permits.
just leave it at tourism, if that's the issue you want to raise.
It's just, it says revenues from business licenses have also indicated an increase. So it's not, it doesn't have another place to go. I think it's fine to leave it here and just leave it as it's anecdotal. Anything on the map? So we were talking about the resort overlay. She didn't like connective tissues, that's fine. I don't know.
I can't read it.
Like, you're trying to say the amount of acres in terms of tourism, obviously the beach, the Tennessee.
What, we need the legend to go with it, because that stripe is what we're showing is where the resort overlay occurs, and it's a big chunk of the island. And if we're gonna name the percentage, we should name the percentage. I don't know what it is, we could figure it
It
out.
would be worthwhile.
I think it's worth to know. But that it is, it's a lot
Yeah,
of golf
'cause-
courses and
'cause-
resort properties, and
You have the legend here,
so just put it
but
in.
it's really hard to read.
Yeah, we need to
So
put,
make the, maybe. the
and
legend
then
a
relate the
little-
legend to the resort overlay comment. Okay. And the-
Highlight the resort's developable land as an economic opportunity. And you've got it in brown on here.
Yeah. Yeah, that, we can display that in the likeness.
Okay. What's that? Yep, last page is objectives and strategies. Anything, any edits there?
Major,
We're on 62.
major
Not
change.
sure if it's,
Major changes? Which one? Okay.
All of the steps or
but then they
bullets
show
that
the
you got in
significance of
there.
the resort.
Strategies?
Yeah, on strategy, the first one is to assess the ensuing or, I don't know, ensuring, I don't know what. It's to assess,
Strategy.
number one, ED one.
Oh.
ED one.
Annexation?
Town council will review the annexation policy plan procedures manual every 5 years. to assess the annexation requirements. They're not gonna,
Session petitions,
that's fine. Why it's in here as a bullet, I don't know. I took the second bullet out completely. Because it's a duplication. And then again, on ED 1-2, oversee and manage through KIA, again, the economic development strategy. You're gonna put a to-do thing in there. The town council will oversee through KIA because most of the development is gonna take place in the other entities.
I don't think you should put KIA in there. That's,
Well, then take it out. But town council won't oversee and manage economic development.
well, they
strategy.
can delegate it to somebody, you know, using this
No, they don't
wordage.
even do that. They don't have to.
They don't own the property.
He wants to put it.
What can they do? Yeah.
And
I had that, I just took out the bullet. All I did was take out the bullet. Town council oversee and manage. Right. Take out the second bullet then. Take out the first bullet.
includes the whole of all economic development concerns with the goal of supporting economic well-being across the town of KQO.
The bullet was,
Review existing regulations that would guide annexation, then,
includes the whole of all economic development.
if y'all want to, we'll do it, just tell us what you want to do.
you know, I know we're gonna be reviewing our regulations, but if we wanna develop new building codes and zoning, I think we should have in there, to ensure either designing with nature or something about the environment. You know, we don't wanna just manage large-scale commercial development.
But we, in the environment phase, yeah.
Yeah, I know, but, if this is a strategy, I want it to be part of the strategy.
Strategy.
How about in consideration of Kiowa's natural resources?
How about review and update as
And sea
required
level rise.
building codes to support property renovation, rehabilitation, period. And development, period.
I think you want,
In considerations of Kiowa's natural resources
and sea level rise.
and sea level rise.
I want to say and sea level, I want to say and sea
How
level rise.
about environmental?
specifically.
Comes from around the back. Yes, or environmental considerations.
Okay with that. I'm okay with that.
I added that.
The objective itself says that. It says develop consistent with the town's vision. It's already said, put it in there.
It's important enough to be repetitive, it's okay.
Put it, you gotta put the vision in there again. Put another one where the vision has gotta be,
You know what? I think it might not, I mean, it's a simple statement. I don't mind putting the vision at the top of every one of these. Just right next to economic development, then write the vision. So it's a repetitive thing that's said every time. Yeah.
To go through this, I mean, I had all the page numbers, because when we got it, it was in sections, so I'm looking at page 5, page 4.
So I have a
in
question
each section.
for the purpose of our next meeting, because I'm going to say we're done with everything we needed to get through today. I can send you the whole document. Now, what I'd like to do, I know you want some time to do it. We can send you page 63 to the end of this document when we leave today, or you can give us some time to keep working on it, which I'd prefer. We'll get everything that we've edited today done, and then whatever else we have left to do here done, and then send you the full document, knowing that we're not going to pick up 1 through 62. We're going to assume those are done. Next time we meet, we're going to pick up page 63 and move forward through the next 3 or 4 sections. Okay. The whole document. Yeah, so we have a little bit of time to get some things done.
And I'm going to miss that one. So I'm going to send you stuff.
We'll send you something a week early.
No,
Is that good?
I'm going to miss the next session, so I will send around
Your
my
comments.
comments. But there's some major errors in there you should change, like Turtle Point Clubhouse is not a Kika amenity.
Okay.
I mean, there were a lot of stuff like that in there that I don't know where it came from.
It's probably just, I'm sure there's some misses.
Yeah, there's, you know,
Yeah, we'll-
Even with that, we've got 2 days in that week.
okay. All right, we'll get as far along as we can, and but what I'll do is I'll pencils down, because I don't want to run into this again where we have information you haven't seen. We'll go pencils down when we send it to you.